We have finished talking. We have made our decision.
What decision, Mama?
You will pack your things. You will go back to your father's house. This pregnancy, we don't accept it.
You don't accept it.
It came too soon. Any woman who gets pregnant that fast after marriage. There are questions.
Michael.
Blessing, just listen to them.
Look at me. Michael, look at me.
I cannot fight them. You know I cannot fight them.
Nobody is fighting. We make decisions as a family, and this family has decided you will go. When the child is born, we will see. But right now, you will go.
I am carrying your grandchild. I am 6 months. And you are sending me away.
Go and pack your things.
I want to hear it from my husband.
I will drive you. Get your things ready before evening.
Okay.
She did not cry on the drive. She had packed one large bag and 2 smaller ones. She did not ask Michael to carry them. She carried 2 herself and dragged the 3rd. He rushed to take it from her, not from love, though he told himself it was love, but from the unbearable shame of watching his 6-month pregnant wife drag her own luggage out of the home he had failed to protect her in. His mother watched from the corridor. His 4 sisters watched from the sitting room. None of them moved. None of them spoke, and Blessing did not look at any of them, not once. She walked past all of them as though they were already irrelevant to everything she was going to become. The drive took 2 hours. Michael tried to speak twice. He said it was temporary. He said his mother just needed time. He said he loved her and he loved their child. Blessing did not answer him. She stared at the road and kept her hands on her stomach, and when they pulled into her parents' compound, she got out of the car before he had finished packing. Her mother came out and took one look at her daughter's face and broke. She pressed her hand to her mouth and made a sound so small and so pained that Michael felt it in his bones. Her father walked to Michael's window and stood there. He was not a man who shouted. He simply said, with the full weight of a father who has just watched his pregnant daughter arrive at his gate with her bags, "Go." Michael went. He called that night. She did not answer. He called the next morning. She did not answer. He drove to the house on the 3rd day, and her father opened the gate and said, "She does not want to see you." Michael sat in his car outside for 40 minutes. Then he drove home to a house that was too quiet and too full of everything he had done wrong. Blessing delivered her son 7 weeks later on a Tuesday morning in the middle of the rainy season. She named him David, after the biblical king who had been overlooked by everyone around him and had still risen to become the greatest of his generation. She thought that was appropriate. When the nurse placed David in the crook of her arm, and she looked at his face, round and perfect and furious at being brought into the world, his small fists clenched at his cheeks, something in Blessing's chest settled into a place it had never quite found before. She had been carrying a child. She had not known until this moment that she had also been carrying a purpose. She looked at his face and made him a promise, not in words, in the quiet of her own chest, where only she could hear it and only she could keep it. She promised David that he would never know what it felt like to be unwanted, that his life would be full and wide and abundant, that she would build something so solid under his feet that no family, no in-law, no sitting room council of cold-eyed people could ever shake him from his own ground. She looked at his face one more time. Then she thought, right, let us begin. She began in her mother's kitchen. 4 weeks after David was born, she was at the stove at 5 in the morning, making the pepper soup her mother had taught her, her son asleep in a cloth tied across her back. Her mother came downstairs and found her there. 3 pots on the burner, the kitchen rich with crayfish and oziza, and the deep warmth on goat meat. "You are cooking?" her mother said. "I am thinking," Blessing said. "With 3 pots. I think better when my hands are busy." Her mother sat at the table and watched her. After a while, she said, "What are you thinking about?" Blessing turned from the stove. She had David on her back and a wooden spoon in her hand and something in her eyes that her mother had not seen before. Not grief, but something sharper, something that had been tested and had not broken and now knew its own strength. "I am thinking," Blessing said, "about what I am going to build." The business started with a name written in a school exercise book, Blessing's Kitchen. She crossed it out. Too small. She wanted something that felt like a declaration. She wrote Carry and Crown Catering. She looked at it. She liked it. She had 11,000 naira and a talent that had fed every person who had ever eaten in any house she had ever lived in. She went to her father and asked not for a gift, but for a loan. She laid out exactly what she needed, what she intended to do with it, and how she intended to repay it. Her father listened without interrupting. Then he opened his drawer and counted out what she had asked for. Then he counted out more. "Papa, for David," he said, "not for the business, for my grandson." She took the money. She looked at her father and understood for the first time exactly where she had gotten the particular quality of her own spine. "I will pay you back," she said. "I know," he said. "That is why I gave it to you." The first 6 months were hard. She cooked from her mother's kitchen. She nursed David and planned her production around his feeding schedule. She delivered orders herself with David tied to her back or sleeping in a basket beside her while she stirred and seasoned and packaged. Her first big order came from a church women's fellowship, a retirement party for 80 people. She quoted carefully. She got the job. She cooked for 3 days with her mother beside her and delivered everything on time, hot, abundant, better than expected. The senior mother called her the next morning. "That pepper soup, where did you learn to cook like that?" "My mother," Blessing said, "and her mother, and hunger." The woman laughed. Then she said, "I am giving your number to my sister." Her sister called the following week. Her sister's colleague called the week after. Word moved the way word moves among Nigerian women with a good caterer, fast, enthusiastic, and completely irresistible. By the time David was 8 months old, Blessing had moved into a small rented commercial space near the market. It was not beautiful. The walls needed paint and the equipment was second-hand, but it was hers. Her name was on the lease.
Her name was on the signboard outside. She stood on the pavement on the morning she first opened and looked at that signboard, Carry and Crown Catering, and felt something move through her chest that she did not have a word for. Not happiness exactly, something older and deeper than happiness. She went inside. She tied her apron. She got to work. By David's first birthday, she had 12 regular clients. By his second, she had paid back her father's loan in full and moved them into their own apartment. Small but neat, with a kitchen she had fitted herself and a room for David with a bookshelf already filling up with the books she read to him every night. She expanded to Port Harcourt in the 3rd year, then Abuja in the 4th, a space in Maitama close to the embassies and the conference centers, negotiated with the quiet confidence of a woman who knew exactly what she needed. She signed the lease on a Wednesday morning and called her father from the car park. "Papa, I am in Abuja. I signed the lease." A pause. Then her father said, in the voice he used only when he was most moved, "Well done, my daughter." She sat in the car for a moment. She looked at the building. She thought about a sitting room in Owerri, a ceiling fan turning slowly, standing in a doorway with her hands on her stomach, being told she was not wanted. She thought, "Look where I am now. Look what I built with what you discarded." Then she got out of the car and went to measure her new kitchen. Michael's life had been contracting, not dramatically, slowly, quietly, the way real damage always happens. His business had struggled. Clients had not renewed. A major project had gone over budget. He had gone through the motions with the women his mother introduced, the family dinners, the conversations, and each time something in him had refused to continue. His mind kept drifting to a blue wrapper and 2 hands resting on a round stomach and a pair of eyes that had looked at him with more disappointment than he had ever wanted to earn. Mama Adeyinka lay awake some nights and counted what she had done. The call came on a Friday evening. Blessing was at her Abuja desk going through the quarter numbers when her phone rang. She looked at the screen. Michael.
She looked at his name for a long moment. Then she answered. "Blessing." His voice was older. Something worn and honest in it. "Michael," she said, "I would like to talk to you, if you are willing." "About what?" "About everything. About what I did. About David. About what I should have said 4 years ago." She was quiet. Outside her window, Abuja was going golden in the evening light. Come Sunday, 2 o'clock. He arrived 10 minutes early and waited in his car. Blessing finished the paragraph she was reading. Then she told her assistant to let him in. Michael walked into the reception of Carry and Crown and stopped. He looked around the space. The warm earth-colored walls, the clean professional furnishing, the logo behind the reception desk, the photographs of events in the glass case near the entrance. He stood in the middle of everything she had built and understood, perhaps for the first time completely, the full weight of what he had walked away from. Blessing came out from her office. 4 years had not diminished her. If anything, they had expanded her. She stood the way a woman stands when she has found the full dimensions of herself and settled into them completely. Simple dress in deep rust, hair natural and lifted, bearing easy and unapologetic. She looked like a woman who had stopped asking anyone's permission for anything. "Sit down," she said. They sat. Her assistant poured water and withdrew. The office was quiet. Michael said, "I was a coward. In that room, in the car, every day after. I let my mother make a decision that was mine to make. I let my family treat our child, with cruelty I should have stood in front of. I didn't, and I have been living in that space ever since." He looked at her. "I am sorry, Blessing, in a way I don't have the words for." Blessing looked at him for a long moment. She felt none of the old longing, none of the grief of what they could have been. What she felt was something quieter and more dignified. The recognition that his remorse was real, that it had cost him to come here, and that it did not change anything. She did not need his apology to be whole. She was already whole, but she was big enough to receive it. "I hear you. I believe you." He exhaled. "I want to be in David's life, not to reclaim anything, just to be his father, to do what I should have done from the beginning. I will not keep you from your son. That was never my plan. But the man David meets will be consistent, honest, someone who shows up, not when guilt gets heavy, but every single time he says he will." If you cannot be that, stay away entirely. I will not allow my son to be disappointed by someone who means well but cannot follow through. I understand. I am not asking for a promise. Promises are easy. I am telling you what I need to see over time in action. She sat back. She let him sit in the reality of everything she had built and everything she had become and everything he had walked away from. Chosen in that sitting room 4 years ago to walk away from. Then she said, David finishes school at 3. If you want to meet him, you can wait. Michael closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were wet. Thank you, he said. Don't thank me, Blessing said quietly. That is between you and your son. It has nothing to do with me anymore. She extended her hand. He took it. He held it a moment longer than a handshake required, then he let go. She walked back to her office. She sat down. She picked up her pen. She went back to work. Mama Denka came 6 weeks later, unannounced, on a Tuesday morning, in a deep purple wrapper and an elaborate head tie. She was smaller than Blessing remembered, not in size, in presence. The particular confidence of a woman who has not yet paid for what she has done was gone. She had paid. She was still paying. Blessing brought her inside, ordered tea, sat across from her with a straight spine and hands in her lap and a face entirely at peace. The old woman spoke for a long time about her fears, about Michael's unhappiness, about the sisters who had since faced difficulties in their own marriages and had come through suffering to understand what they had participated in. About David, she had seen a photograph and she described the child with a longing that needed no translation. Blessing listened. She did not cry. She did not list her wounds. She had already accounted for everything that mattered. When the old woman finished, the room was quiet. Then Blessing said, I don't need your apology to be okay. I am okay. What you did hurt me. I will not pretend it did not, but the mark is healed. And everything I built because of what I had to carry alone. So in a way, you gave me something. You gave me the necessity of becoming who I am. Mama Denka's eyes filled. I did not deserve such a daughter-in-law, she said, her voice low. And I destroyed what I did not deserve by not understanding what I had. Blessing was quiet. Then, David will know his grandmother. I will not take that from him. But he grows up knowing his value, knowing he is wanted, knowing that the people in his life show up for him fully. If you can be that, you are welcome. If you cannot, the door is not closed, but it is conditional. Mama Denka nodded slowly. I understand. Good. Blessing stood. The old woman stood. For a moment, she looked as though she wanted to embrace Blessing. The impulse was there, visible in the slight forward movement of her body, but she stopped herself, understanding that this had not yet been earned. Thank you for seeing me, she said. Go safely, Blessing said. She walked her to the door, watched her go down the steps and into her waiting car. Then she turned around. Her building, her name, her work, her life, her son who would be home from school in 3 hours, who would come through that door and launch himself at her with the uncomplicated love of a child who has always, every single day of his life, known he was wanted. Blessing stood in the doorway of everything she had built. She breathed it in. She turned. She went back inside. She carried her baby and built her empire alone. But when Michael and his mother came back, she received them with dignity instead of bitterness. Was that strength or too much grace? Drop your thoughts below. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs it today. And drop a comment. We want to hear from you. God bless you.